Welcome to episode 25 of Whole Lotta Wolves. We're your hosts. I'm Joshua Buckley.
I'm Paul LePage.
And we once again brought back Teddy Eley in Boca Raton, Florida this week to put a bow on the Liverpool game. How's it going, Teddy?
Hey, Josh. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Oh, good. Let's hope we're all doing better than Rui Patricio. Hopefully he's doing okay. I got sounded like positive signs. He didn't have to go to the hospital or anything after getting hurt in that 1-0 defeat against Liverpool. Let's just start there, guys. What was your worry factor when you saw Patricio go down?
Yeah, especially after seeing Raul this season, definitely some horrific scenes. They didn't really show any replays either, which makes it kind of tough to see. But yeah, it looks like Cody's knee just goes straight into his head. And yeah, obviously it gets you nervous with Raul, but sounds like it might just be a concussion. So that's positive news. But yeah, concern level was 9 out of 10 for sure.
I think the worst aspect of it comes down to the technology as well, and that stupid ruling of keeping the flag down until the play comes to an end. Because if the flag had gone up when it rightly should have done, then incident wouldn't have happened. So it's just been waiting for an incident like that a player is going to get hurt from a non-play. And that needs scrapping and altering and just going back to normal as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I was really concerned when they said they were bringing out the oxygen and obviously the lack of replays. I just feel like we had seen it before, but sounds like he's going to be okay. Nothing as major as Raul had. And in fact, I read online that he may be able to join Team Portugal for World Cup qualifying here coming up. Hopefully, he'll just sit back and rest and get better because I know Wolves are going to need him here with a big month coming up. Let's go to the Liverpool game. It just seemed like it was going to happen. Jota scoring the winner, really on a play that should never have happened. What were your thoughts, Paul?
Just as far as the goal came, I thought it was inevitable that if it was going to be a 1-0 loss, then he'd be the scorer. And disappointing on two aspects for me was that we didn't close out that half. And it was literally the last kick in that half, really, that they went and took the lead. And I think Rui will look back at that and think that he should have done better on his near post. So that was disappointing to lose to a goal like that in that situation. I thought Jota had a pretty good game. He was dropping deep and picking the ball up. And I think between him and Mane, they were our biggest threats throughout. So some inevitability around the result, performance, and who we lost the goal to.
Yeah, I thought Sadio Mane definitely deserved a goal in that first half as well. But of course, it had to be Jota that scored. But I thought we handled the front three pretty well, all things considered. And yeah, defensively, look back. I know they've been through a down period, but that's still the best, one of the best front threes in the league. So we definitely shouldn't be taking that away from them.
I think what really made it frustrating was Wolves had really played well in the first half. They were aggressive. It was probably one of the better first halves that we've seen in a while. And it just seemed like they were so close on several occasions, including they should have gotten a penalty against Alisson. Or is that right? That's the way I saw it.
Yeah, I think it was the second or third minute, and it looks like he almost tackled Semedo right there. I'm not quite sure why that. I'm sure it was reviewed by VAR, but I'm not quite sure why that wasn't given a little harder look. Yeah, on second and third replay, I thought that kind of looked like a penalty.
What got me with that, and I'm not sure if the commentary team even mentioned it, but usually if the play stopped and they go and review it, that obviously what's going on. But sometimes when the play's allowed to continue, the commentary team will say as the play's going on, oh, it's been looked at by Stockley Park and ruled not a penalty. I didn't hear that. So whether it was even looked at, that's what gets me, because anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul. Anywhere else on the pitch. And if you can get a penalty, you score in the first 2 or 3 minutes, against a team like Liverpool, that completely changes the whole dynamic of the game. If you go 1-0 up that early, completely does. And I think the way we've played throughout pretty much the rest of the game, if we'd have had that lead, I think we'd have gone on and won. So terrible decision, I think. And even more so exacerbated in the second half when it pretty much happened again. That was a distinct push from Alexander-Arnold. His arm was out on his back. He's pushed. And again, anywhere else on the pitch, you're getting a foul for that. And Pawson was so inconsistent throughout with what he was giving, what he was letting slide. And again, you wrap it up and just you're really disappointed in how poor the level of officiating is at the moment, really.
And even the calls that were made, it felt like they were coming in so late. Like you'd watch something and be like, that's a foul, and there's no whistle. And then 5 seconds later, one's coming in. Are you like having to sit there and process it? As an official, you need to be able to make a quick decision. And I felt that was going on all game, really on both sides, a little frustrating. Cody had another shot at a goal, just missed it. Semedo had a chance at one. I like the fact that Cody's getting up there a little bit more and getting a chance. I feel like he's being really aggressive. And once he hasn't been asked to do this in a long time. So I feel like once he gets some of the basics down, he could actually be scoring some goals here.
It was a great ball by Sais as well to
oh, yeah.
the plate for him. Good header, should have done better in the position that he was in. But yeah, if it's adding another threat to our armory, then I'm all for it for sure.
Yeah, I feel like with Bally being back up there too, at least defensively, you can really see how key he is in defense. And I think they said we scored 10 goals from set pieces this season already, which is, I feel like it's pretty good number. So yeah, let's hope we can improve on that.
Unfortunately, who knows how many we've given up on set pieces. Man of the match, I think it's a pretty easy choice, but I'll let you guys say who you think.
Ooh, easy choice. Yeah. I was initially thinking Adama, but after looking at it again, I thought Joao Moutinho played great in the midfield, won a ton of balls back, had some really progressive passes that put us on the front foot. He had that neat little flick right before the penalty kick as well. He was it for me. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, same. I thought Adama had flashes and probably more than Neto in this past game as well. And particularly in the second half, he had him on toast down that right-hand side where he'd knock the ball past and run the other way and catch up and he'd get a ball into the box. I think that's the Adama that we all know and love, that you're really seeing his pace and the opportunities he can craft from that point. So hopefully there's more of the same of that going forward.
Yeah, here's some of the stats on Moutinho. He had 91% pass accuracy, 100% long ball accuracy, 5 dual runs, and 15 ball recoveries. So he was really in peak form. They just, once again, couldn't find the back of the net. I saw some people that were saying, oh, Will and Jose had a much better game, blah, blah, blah. I felt like on the one breakaway he had with Neto coming in and just he makes the wrong move over and over. I just keep waiting for him to know where to go, but it just doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah, there seems some better link-up play and better holding the ball up, but that was really more just past the halfway line rather than the real final third where he needs to be doing some more damage. But yeah, whether it's decision making, you'd think by now that there'd be some better understanding to help with those types of moves. And if we're such a counter-attacking threat, which we've been known to be, if that's being held up because there's a wrong piece of the puzzle that's breaking down when we come to carve those opportunities out, then that's going to be reflected. I think it has been in our such poor goal output these recent weeks that it's down to that forward three not clicking.
I feel like we were in so many great positions down the wing, especially on Adama's side, and yeah, you really feel like, Neves and Moutinho aren't really going to win any headers. I really felt like we could have used like a Den Dunker. I know he hasn't scored a goal this season either, but I just really felt like we could have used someone else in the boxes. Yeah, William Jose he's there, and I want to say he's definitely trying for the team, but yeah, it's him and Adama are nowhere close to the same wavelength right now, and yeah, it's really affecting the goal output of the team.
Silva had another strong cameo. I know the announcers were dogging him most of the 25 minutes he was out there, but still seemed to be in the right spot. I know in that one header it hit his shoulder more than anything, but I felt it was because Den Donker had bumped into him and he lost like track of the ball.
Yeah, I thought Fabio, once again, I was saying it last week too. I'd be pleased with seeing him start again. He's getting in those positions, and I feel like with Adama going down the wing, I feel like he could have been the one to kind of tap some of those in. And I feel like he's definitely made some real quality improvements this season. And we know probably his strongest skill is getting into those goal scoring positions, which he was in only this 15 minutes he played last night too.
That flick he had to put
Yeah.
Morgan Gibbs-White through was spectacular. That was a lovely play, and Gibbs-White had some flashes as well, and certainly an uptick on what we've seen from him more recently. But I really felt with his chance when he went bursting through, he was probably putting away those goals in the Championship, and that just shows you the level that we're at now in the Premier League and what that caliber of player needs to be. That if you're breaking through one-on-one, you've either got to beat that last defender and score, or you've got to do better than what he did. Great to be put through, but those are the fine margins of the Premier League that we got to capitalise on in those situations. And when it falls to someone like him, I'm not sure that's the quality that we need to be at.
Yeah, and that was a great pass through that Fabio had to him. It's just, if you're playing at this level, you have to be able to collect up the dribble and keep the dribble in that.
Or have that extra half yard of speed that takes you away from the defender as that attacking midfielder, that you get a break on the defender and he's either got to hold off or risk a foul and be the last man and risk sending off. So there's all types of skill set that you need to take yourself to the next level in the Premier League. And if it's pace, if it's skill, if it's finishing, all increments that need to be at the highest to make the most of those opportunities.
I know on our chat thread that we have, Paul, some of the guys were a little concerned, once again, the relegation talk. I like to remind everybody, hey, these next 5 games are going to be really key. I still feel good as long as we can have good results in these. So no more games this month, but you're looking at April, West Ham, Fulham, Sheffield, Burnley, and then the first game of May is West Brom. I feel like they can really put it away and just get some momentum to end the season on a good note with the next month. Are you concerned at all about dropping points and then being in the battle for the bottom 3?
No, really, out of all those games, it's one win for pretty much mathematical certainty from the past 2 or 3 seasons. I could certainly see that win happening, and likewise, I don't think there's a challenge there from the team that will end up in 17th. I don't, if it's Newcastle or Fulham, I don't think they've got the legs to catch us, even if we were threatened. But I think it's a win. We're going to pick up a win, put a couple of draws in those first collection of games and be fine. And from that point forward, I would like to see some experimentation, be it formation-wise or personnel. I think we may have seen a little with Bolly coming back in and Seiss being deployed on the right as a left footer on the right, and bringing that more central. That seemed to push Bolly up a bit more advanced, kind of 10 yards in front and going into midfield a little more. So it may be little things like that, or if they are going to have a look at the back again, having a run of games with that formation when the pressure's off. And I don't know, with the stage that he's at, seeing the pictures that they're putting out there, protective headgear now, I generally wouldn't be surprised to see Raul for the last 3 or 4 games.
I agree.
And that would be a great boost, great end to the season in a positive way. And there's some big games in that final 3 as well. So it'd be exciting and entertaining if we can have the band back together.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I'm not really nervous pre that run we had last month. I definitely was. But yeah, as he said, we really only need 3 points. And where we at right now might be enough to see us stave off relegation. So I don't think we should be worrying too much about. Paul also alluded to the inverted center backs we had with Saiss playing right center back and Bali playing left. And yeah, I felt like Bali definitely had some good 1-2s with Moutinho or Johnny to push up the field a bit. But Saiss as well, I don't know if you guys noticed, he had some really nice kind of cross field passes, and having those kind of different players and playing out of position in a way. It allows different angles for their feet. So Saiz is really strong on his left foot. So he pings some balls out to Johnny or even up to Adama that if Bali was there, he wouldn't have been able to play those passes. So yeah, I thought it was a nice twist to it. And some of that experimentation we're hoping to see a little later on in the season. I was pleased with seeing that.
Yeah, and I think Wolves have pretty much come to the conclusion that Raul's going to play for Mexico this summer if he's healthy. So you might as well, if the doctors are going to clear him, might as well have him go out there the last few games of this season, which it's just awesome to see him back training. Just really good sign because I know we were all pretty worried. Well, Paul, what is the update on the predictions that we've made so far this year?
Drum roll, please. And if we'd had money on it, we'd probably still be in the hole. But that 1-0 prediction of yours last week for the Liverpool game, Josh, came in, and that puts you into a commanding 3-point lead, given our usual status of poor attempts at predictions. So still not quite in the final furlong in terms of the season, but it's the first lead and a little bit of daylight between you and the other participants.
Sadly, with the way I've been picking the last month or so, I wish I hadn't taken the lead. But, you know, what I last week I said 1-0 with Jota, didn't I?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I hate being right. What about no stupid questions, Paul?
That part of the show where it is up to you, listeners, to get in touch and ask us anything related to the Wolves in a judgment-free zone. You can do that via our Facebook page or on Twitter or by good old email to hello@wholelotofwolves.com. Our good friend, Soccer in the South, Wolfman Jeff, he asks on Twitter first up, how bad are we needing this almost month-long break?
Yes, it's a break, but no at the same time, because you're looking at some of these guys are still going to be playing internationally. I don't know about Rui now, but Moutinho, Neves, Neto. I think is Spain calling up Adama. Have they said yet? I'm sure they will.
I've not seen it, yeah. But
yeah, Cody will probably get called up. It's not really a rest. I guess if anybody's resting, it's some of those younger guys. So I'd kind of rather hope that Nuno's pushing them hard on the training ground.
It's 3 more weeks effectively for Raul, and to give him a fresh environment with the Mexico team if they're nearby, and he does meet up with those. But I think for the Wolves, it would have been that FA Cup weekend that we didn't have a game in. That would have been the prime opportunity in years gone by to head back to Portugal for that all-important vitamin D. So obviously that they can't do that in the current circumstances. So whenever that's happened in previous seasons, it's always pretty much turned out favourably when they've done that. So we probably will miss that aspect a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like having Podence could possibly be back after the break, which could be huge. And yeah, just more time for Raul to rest up and chat with his Mexico teammates. That's no soccer for us to watch for 3 weeks, which kind of wasn't ideal. But yeah, I think we'll come back almost full health from the break. So I'm pretty pleased about that, at least.
This one next up isn't a no stupid question as such, but it's more of a request from @KingWolf84 on Twitter, who wants us to mention that apart from their version of the FA Cup, the Wolves women their season again has been brought to a premature end due to the pandemic. So this is now curtailed pretty much 2 years of progress because of the success they were enjoying in the league competition and trying their best to move up the pyramid in the women's game in England. So newer listeners may want to go back and listen to our episode when we had Joe Hunt on from the club, who was talking about the international growth and development. And obviously the women's game is certainly a part of that when it comes to the club, and something that they've taken very seriously. So let's hope the Wolves women can overcome those obstacles and kick on next season and beyond.
Yeah, I believe this is the second year in a row that they've just been dominating the league in first place. And yeah, it's sounding like they won't be promoted, which is, yeah, just a really big bummer for the whole club.
I saw they may be looking into adjusting the rules because of the fact they would have earned a promotion in the last 2 seasons to try and figure out a way to reward them because, yeah, this does pretty much suck for them. All right, and let's hear from social shoutouts now.
So none directly here, but what I did following up a no stupid question last week from at Football Scout X on Twitter, who's a new listener, and they wanted to find out some more about where our concentrations of support are stateside. So I went about this first up by hijacking the Wolves USA group on Facebook to poll its members there. And from them, we got 33 states represented, with the top 3 being Florida, Texas, and California. So pretty fair, I'd say, there, based on size and population of those states. Then when it came to the major cities that our fans in that group buy, 21 were represented, with the top 3 being New York City, Houston, and Atlanta. So shout out to Wolfman Jeff and Andrew and co repping Atlanta, Georgia. I took both of those top 3s then for a poll on Twitter and added a fourth choice for other. And again, when it came to the states, other was first, 58%. Texas was second with 26. California third with 16%. That was from 19 total votes. Some notable others that were mentioned there were Washington States and Massachusetts, with Dan, who's at Bruins Hockey Now on Twitter, saying that Boston Wolves was pretty active pre-COVID. With the cities again on Twitter, that was again from 19 votes. Other one with 58%. New York and Houston again tied with 16% each. There's a couple of onesies here worth mentioning that I hadn't came up before. One was our friend Nate Hughes in Phoenix, Arizona, and also Byron Rubenstein in Indianapolis. So really good collection of fans pretty much dotted around North America.
Yeah, and hopefully that base can just continue to grow. That's one of our hopes with this podcast, is as people are really discovering Wolves, they'll come and find us and get to find out more of the different groups and get to meet more Wolves fans out there. I know I've gotten to meet a lot of cool guys, but just by doing this podcast, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It really is a community that's growing, Paul.
Very much so. And I think when we get back to normality, it's going to be really interesting to see how support has increased in those major cities and states, and certainly those groups that are active via the worldwide Wolves network through the club. That's going to be good to see growth there, both in numbers and new supporters groups cropping up. And I think everyone will look forward to getting together properly again in person. And then obviously NBC have been really active in previous years with their get-togethers on Premier League mornings and the places that they've been to. And it would be great to get together collectively at some spot in the country and catch up with people that we know remotely, or we see on webcam, or we chat with on social media. So yeah, looking forward to normality.
Hopefully Wolves will end up making that trip they were talking about last year down to Texas, and then we can invite everybody over to our spot. So, Teddy, as we bring this episode to a close, can you remind the listeners how to get in touch with you in Florida?
Yeah, definitely. It's Teddy Eley, all one word, at Twitter. Yeah, pretty big active Twitter user. Same on Facebook. And yeah, I think I usually go to the Lion and Eagle pub for the matches, which have a outdoor space as well. Yeah, thanks for having me on again, guys. It was quite fun. And yeah, it would be awesome if you guys were able to, once a year or something, we were able to have a big kind of Wolves in the US meetup. It's a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Listeners, thanks for your continued support. If you were tuning in for the first time, please hit that subscribe button like the podcast, share it, give us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform of choice. This helps us a bunch with our exposure. So it's that international break and the FA Cup weekend means it'll be a while before another episode, but we'll be back in that week preceding the Fulham game to preview that one. So in the meantime, stay safe out there, look after you and your pack. In Nuno we trust, and up the Wolves.